Are you still looking at me?
I'm just gonna come out and say it, man. Spartan abilities are gay. This gameplay right here that you are going to witness will show you how stupid they are. These kids I played literally only tried Spartan charging me, and it pissed me off so bad that I made this video. I hate Spartan abilities. But here's the thing, many of you may or may not know, though, however, that Halo Reach was my favorite Halo game out of the series. Yeah, that's right, arguably the most controversial Halo of all time had abilities that a player could choose from during their multiplayer game. But I actually love this game, so like, what's the difference between Halo and Halo 5? Well, for starters, you weren't guaranteed to have the same ability as somebody else in Halo Reach. For example, you could have been a pussy and used armor lock. And still to this day, I cannot come up with an intelligent reason for why in the shit somebody would think that would be the answer for an armor ability. A lot of the matches, though, I will admit, were sprint and jetpack, and of course that annoying ass armor lock too that I just said. Every match was different though. That was the nice thing. Some players would have sprint, some entire teams would have jetpack or active camo, and like I said, armor lock because it was gay, of course. It made your decision making though for your armor abilities have purpose. Was the map very open and easy to get high ground? You probably used a jetpack. Was the map filled with tight corners and open corridors? You probably used sprint or active camo. There were, of course, advantages and disadvantages to this system. If somebody chose an armor ability besides sprint, they had practically no way to run away from someone else who did. And if someone wanted to get to a building that would, let's say, take you 30 seconds to run up to with sprint, it could easily be done in half the time with jetpack. So each set of abilities had pros and cons, and each player had to weigh their options. Halo 5 doesn't have that. Everyone has the same exact ability, and it's very annoying. And what makes it even worse is that these abilities are the skill gap in the game. Yes, aiming, grenade placing, knowing power weapon spawns, and map positioning is all important, but without understanding the movement system, you're entirely going to get cucked unlike any other cucking you've experienced before in Halo 5. It's very easy to tell who's good and who's bad at Halo 5 just by seeing the way they maneuver around the map. If you run into someone who can strafe while using the thruster pack, is probably a good player. Meanwhile, if you strafe back and forth like other Halo games is just jump up and down every once in a while, you're probably an average or below average player. Of course, this isn't the case for every single player, but it is this way for the vast majority of the time. Another thing that is very frustrating is the way you regenerate in Halo 5. It's really stupid. You're not allowed to sprint or maneuver around if your shields are low or they just won't recharge. I personally think this is a very, very dumb mechanic, and it shouldn't have ever been introduced, and it should never be reintroduced. If you're going to give us sprint, don't make us feel like it's pointless. Sprint was used a lot, primarily just to get away or to get across the map quicker. And in Halo 5, your shields don't recharge, like I said. However, in other Halo games where you're able to sprint, your shields do recharge. And I understand where this annoyance is coming from, but it's a useless mechanic, and Halo 5 is the only Halo that ever incorporated something like this. And of course, I do understand why the gameplay style is like this. It's a fast-paced, competitive shooter, quote unquote. But that's the problem. Halo 5 isn't lacking anything. It's just trying too hard. It's like the athletic gym class hero. Sure, he's athletic, but he doesn't play on any sports teams. Halo 5 is the same way. It's a competitive shooter, but it isn't a Halo competitive shooter. Now, there are multiple reasons for this besides the movement system, but I think the main one, in my opinion, is the movement system. They tried too hard to make it fair and competitive for everyone. They wanted to attract new players, but honestly, they did the opposite by incorporating this convoluted movement system. It scared away many Halo veterans as well. See, here's the thing. People don't want to make themselves better at the basic movement of the game. They want to be able to focus their time and energy into the other aspects of the game. So think about it like this. Think of it like building a house. You don't want to make the door the primary focus of your home. Yes, you want a sturdy, nice door, but you don't want to invest half your home budget into the door. It applies with movement as well for Halo. Halo isn't the only game that this has happened to either. Call of Duty has also previously lost its roots with movement systems that are too complex and annoying to learn. In those previous games, the only thing that you really could do was sprint and dolphin dive or slide. In Halo, the only other things you could do before sprint, it was pretty much nothing. You didn't sprint in classic Halo gameplay, and that also didn't slow the pace of the game down either. Sure, some games are slower or were slower than others, but they usually ended pretty quickly. Most Slayer matches last anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, and the matches were just as competitive because people focused more on their shot and power weapon spawns than they did their movement style. But here's the kicker for 343. No matter which movement they choose, it's not going to please everyone. If they choose regular classic Halo style movement, the new age players are going to be upset. And the same thing will happen, but vice versa if they choose their current movement system. They are stuck with a dilemma. But here's my shithole of a theory. I suggest that 343 makes a classic movement Halo. I think that these newer fans of the Halo series would probably actually really like the movement system and would fall in love with the classic Halo experience. And you're probably thinking, well, why don't they try the Master Chief Collection and see how it goes? Well, I'm sure a lot of them have. However, there's a problem with that. With Halo veterans, such as myself, there are probably going to have... The kids that are new are probably going to have a hard time doing well in any of the matches just due to the experience older Halo players have over them. If you put me and another Halo 5 player on a Halo 2 map and we have the same exact skill, and you put us on a brand new map in Halo 2 that neither one of us have ever seen or played before, I'd probably go with me winning just due to knowing how the style of Halo 2 is played. Of course, you can always learn to get good with time, but it's very hard when you're behind the times when you try to play. Personally, I think a classic Halo style gameplay would work, and I would even gladly settle for a Halo Reach version as well. I don't like advanced movements, and I really hope Infinite doesn't have this if you didn't get that already by this video. But if it does, I hope it's better than the ugliness we have on Halo 5. But I think that's going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like. Until next time, peace out, my dudes.